Hi, this is Risa and welcome back to my Stitch Along series. In this video, I've decided to review a punch needle embroidery design of a hare's head sold by Liberty Lodge Crafts. I haven't stitched and recorded a punch needle embroidery kit for a while, and this adorable design of a hare's head caught my eye while sifting through the kits I could potentially review for this video. Now, you may have seen another one of my kit reviews by Liberty Lodge Crafts, and that's of a bouquet of lavenders, which is really pretty. So let's see what this kit includes. Here you can see it includes all of the threads that you will need to complete the pattern. It includes a nice cotton blend fabric, and I like the color as well, and the size is just perfect for me to complete it as a throw cushion for my son. It has some carbon paper here and the actual pattern with color coding that I will use to trace the pattern on the fabric. The kit does not include a punch needle, so you will need to either own a punch needle for punch needle embroidery or order one through Liberty Lodge Crafts. The first thing I need to do is to trace the pattern. So I'm placing the pattern somewhere in the center of the fabric and placing the carbon approximately to know where I should trace the pattern. And now I'm going to trace the pattern using a colored pen, just so I know, what are the parts that I've completed tracing. So just make sure you don't rub the pattern or rub the paper with your hand, because then you may transfer some of that carbon onto the fabric, which you don't want to do. So press firmly onto the pattern, and you'll see that it transfers really well onto the cloth. Now, I've mounted the hoop on an embroidery stand, and I suggest you do the same. That way you have a nice taut surface to work on to punch needle the hare's head onto the fabric. Now, here's a punch needle tool that Elaine Roberts, the owner of the shop, sent me as a replacement for a punch needle tool that I had bought originally, which didn't work very well. So I am gonna try this out. The tool seems to have a nice handle, and it comes with 3 additional needles. However, I'm already having trouble. As you can see, I've taped a sellotape at the top here so that the needle doesn't push through. It doesn't seem to arrest very well. So let's see if it works with that adjustment that I've made with the Scotch tape. It comes with a needle threader as well, and I'm going to show you how to thread this punch needle. So essentially you insert the threader in the needle side like this, pull it out at the other end, insert your thread, pull it through, and then there's an eye of the needle here that you would need to also thread by inserting the thread in the threader and pulling it through like so. So to punch, you will need to punch directly perpendicular to the cloth, like I am doing here. And you can see the needle is pretty shaky, and I'm not finding it very sturdy to work with. So I am going to use another punch needle that I have in my supplies, the link for which is at the bottom in the description. Essentially, you thread it exactly the same way you would the other one. And what's good is it has the other needle, it comes with 5 other needles, and it has these stoppers that you can sort of change the depth of the needles. Here are the other needles, so you can see you can change the depth of them by taking out some of these stoppers and then moving them to the needle that you want. So at least I'm doing that. I'm not sure if others are also using the needles in the same way, but I need to make sure that the loops are not too long on the right side of the fabric. Now, you know that with punch needle embroidery, you are working on the wrong side of the fabric. So here I have started with the eyes, and what you essentially do is you punch directly perpendicular onto the cloth all the way down to the stopper there. And you punch in the direction where you see the eye of that needle. And some people like to leave the ends of the thread and then cut them off afterwards. I like to keep my working area clean. So as soon as I finish a thread, I snip it off, and now I am punch needling the white of the eye, as you can see. Now for the eyelashes, I've decided I want it flat, so I have made markers of where the eyelashes should end, and I am going to punch the eyelashes from the right side of the fabric. Let me zoom in a little bit here. As you can see, those little markers are little black threads that I can pull off later, and I am going to punch needle the eyelashes with 2 lines, and essentially just do the same thing, but this time on the right side of the fabric. As you can see, the cloth is not as taut as I want it to be. I did try to pull it across the hoop, but this is as taut as it gets, but it seems to be working, so I'll just continue. So I'm punching 2 lines of black to form the eyelashes, and once I'm done, I am just going to pull out these little marker threads. Back to the back end of the fabric, I am going to punch in the next color scheme onto the hare's head. In this case, just typically punch in all the way down to the stopper, and sometimes you may have some loops that are a little loose. You may want to pull that taut or tight at the back of the fabric. And as you can see, I just keep punching in, and then when you run out of thread, you can just put in or thread the punch needle with another length of thread and just continue. And I keep sort of cutting them off before I thread a new needle. It just keeps the area clean. I'm going to let the video run for a while here without any commentary, as there's not much else to say, but when I get to certain points of the video, I will come in. So enjoy watching the punch needle and continue stitching along with me. Congratulations on getting this far with the stitch along. I just wanted to step in here and say that the kit runs short on floss number 841, 840 and 842. And so it's annoying because I had to take about a 2-week break before I could finish this video for my channel. Anyway, I've sent a message to Elaine Roberts, who has promptly responded saying that she will be mailing me the extra threads. It is really annoying when the kit does not have sufficient floss to complete the pattern, and I hope this is good feedback for Liberty Lodge Crafts to ensure that all of their kits have sufficient thread and more, especially if you are catering to beginners of punch needle embroidery. So this is where I'm at with all of the threads used in the kit. As you can see, I'm missing threads number 841, 840 and 842. So I'm going to have to wait a while before I can finish this pattern. However, I do still have sort of the pink thread here to finish off the center of the ear. To embroider the whiskers, I have decided that I'm going to use shorter loop lengths by adding stoppers to the punch needle. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm first going to punch it from the right side of the punch needle pattern, and then I'm going to overturn it and embroider it from the wrong side. And the reason I'm doing this is because when I first did it only from the wrong sides, the loops were too far apart to really look very nice. So by doing this, I'm giving the whiskers a nice black background, and then to create the loops, I'm going to punch it from the wrong side. So here you can see the loops that have been created on the wrong side, and I'm just going to follow that with one line of punches, and this will create the loops on the right side, giving the whiskers a little bit of body. Otherwise, the whiskers sort of get indented in the fur on the right side of the pattern. So here you can see the loops are sticking out, and all I'm going to do here is now trim it, or trim the whiskers along with the fur, so that I get a nice neat line for the whiskers. You can trim the whiskers either while it's on the hoop, or you can remove the hoop and trim the whiskers along with the rest of the fur when it's out of the hoop. And I think it's much easier to trim it when it's out of the hoop, and that way you can hold the fabric while you're trimming. I'm going to use a little bit of Scotch tape here to help pick up the little pieces of thread that's on the fabric and in the fur. And I'm going to continue to trim the whiskers and also the fur. So you will see that there's some loops that are sort of longer, or there's some threads that are sticking out that require trimming as part of finishing the punch needle embroidery of this gorgeous hare's head. Once I'm happy with the trimming and after I've ironed the fabric, I'm now applying some crafts glue on the back side of the punch needle. Now you don't necessarily have to do this. Generally with punch needling, the loops don't typically come off, but since I'm going to stitch this into a throw pillow, I think it would be safer to apply some glue to the background, since I'm sure there's going to be a lot of wear and tear of the cushion once my sons use it. In case you want to convert your embroidery to a throw cushion, you will need to cut out 15 inches in width and about 20 inches in length of a background fabric. Now, in this case, I'm using a nice brown fleece for the background fabric. Now that I've cut out the fabric, I am going to lay it over a cushion that I'm going to use, and I'm going to lay the side that is 15 inches long over the cushion like so, and then fold the longer side over the cushion. So this will give me the approximation for the fold that I'll need at the back of the cushion. And once I have that, I am cutting out that fabric, and essentially it's going to measure about 15 inches by 11 inches for the larger piece. So 15 and 11, and the second piece is going to measure 15 inches by 9 inches. Now I'm going to take the two cut pieces and overlap the fabric so that it measures out to be about 14.5 or 15 by 15 inches. So here you can measure out that the embroidery piece is about 14.5, and I have a little extra, about 15 inches for the background material. Now make sure you face the right side of both the materials together. So I'm facing the loopy side towards the right side of the background material, and I'm aligning the edges. Now you can stitch the edges in a sewing machine, which I'm going to do, or you can stitch it by hand by just stitching back stitches on all four sides. Remember not to stitch through the middle where the two fabrics overlap, so that you can use that to turn the cushion inside out. So here is the gorgeous hare's head converted into a cushion for my son's room. I hope you've liked watching the video. Don't forget to click on the subscribe, like, and notification buttons. See you again next time. Bye bye.